Welcome to Future Role Model, a podcast that completely redefines what it is to be a role model. And today I have one of my favorite fresh role models and girlfriends, Courtney Scheuerman. Say what's up.
Hi. How you doing?
Dude, it's been so fun finally kind of getting to know you for the first time.
I know. I've known you for years. And we've always been like, yeah, we should like hang out or grab a drink. And especially because, you know, I mean, we see each other in comedy clubs all the time. It was overdue.
It's kind of a thing in the comedy world where we're like people, you consider people your friend, but you don't know a lot about them yet because you've known them for so long. They're not really just an acquaintance anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a lot of people that fall in that category. Like even example, there's this guy, Curtis, who runs the Laugh Factory in Chicago. We've known each other for years. Like I have always liked him, but until Just for Laughs, we didn't hang out a ton. And then there we hung out like 3 days in a row. And now we're like, we text all the time.
Yeah.
We're like homies. But, you know, it's just funny how that happens. Where
we don't think of it as a work relationship, but it is. It's like a work, you know, you see people at work every day and you're just like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Or somebody asks you and you're like, yeah, I know them really well. And they're like, where are they from? And you're like,
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think the difference with comedy is like you want a community, so you do call these people your friends. Like, I think people that work in an office don't say that shit. They're not like, oh yeah, my friend over 4 cubicles over is like, they don't refer to each other as homies, you know?
Yeah, coworkers.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would never say that you're my coworker, but that technically is what
it is. But anyway, so we went out last week and had some margaritas and a lot of guacamole, and that was like kind of our first like hardcore bonding experience.
Yeah, we bonded.
That we did. I do want to get to know a little bit more about you since I have you here. So where did you grow up? I don't even know.
I'm from here.
Okay.
I'm from LA.
That's right. We did talk about that.
I was raised in Woodland Hills in the valley.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are still in the same house that I was
that you grew up in.
Yeah.
Wow, that's rare.
I know. It's like a nice thing, but it's kind of sad. Like that. I've been there a long time.
Have they acquired at least some like property value?
Yeah,
that's not sad.
Yes, yeah, and especially that area. It's right near the that Westfield Mall.
Yeah,
like the new outdoor mall.
Oh, I know exactly where that is.
Yeah.
Why is it a thing with women where we always know where a mall is at?
I know I'm actually embarrassed that I just
I've never even been there, but I know exactly where it is.
Exactly what I was talking about.
Yes, we have like a mall-dar. Yeah. So what was it like growing up in the Valley? Or like were you around a lot of entertainers, or were you kind of removed from it because you
I was actually an entertainer. Yeah.
As a kid?
As a kid, yeah.
Okay, let's go into that.
So let's go into my sad background. No, I started acting. I did my first theater production at 4. I did Annie.
Shit.
With the touring company, and I played Molly, the youngest orphan.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an agent at 8 and did a bunch of work on Nickelodeon. And my parents were very adamant about me not being like a flash in the pan. They wanted me to get an education, and so they never like let me renew anything. It was like you can do like one season or a few episodes, or you know what I mean. Yeah. Or like if I had a game, like I played a bunch of sports growing up. If I had a game or even a practice, like they wouldn't let me go in the audition. They wouldn't even tell me that I had an audition. They'd just be like, no.
That's actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
That they like let you kind of balance out a childhood a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they didn't want me in the industry as a kid. I was very adamant about for like all of my birthday lists and Christmas lists, the first thing would be like agent.
Stop.
And I'm not kidding. I thought like an agent would like pop out of a present like on Christmas.
Oh my God.
I don't understand how it works.
See, and I feel like there's so many people, I mean, because I grew up in the Midwest, there's so many people that grew up elsewhere that are like, oh yeah, I've been an entertainer since I was a kid, but it's like fucking church plays and stuff. Like you were actually you were actually legit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how legit you can be
as a kid.
As a kid, yeah. I knew Lindsay Lohan a lot. We went in for a lot of the same things.
Oh, dang.
Parent Trap. I was offered to role in Parent Trap. My parents wouldn't let me do it. But yeah, so she was around a lot, and my mom knew her mom, and we kind of went opposite ways.
Yeah. So. I always wondered what it would be like to grow up out here because, even looking back on when I moved out here, I was 26. And I always am thankful that I didn't move out here even like when I was 22, because I feel like I would have ended up in like a hardcore party situation.
Right.
Really, really easy.
I got into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not, well, yeah, I had a fake ID at 16. So I was coming over the hill at like 16, 17.
I feel like, how could you not here? I mean, because I started drinking young, but obviously no fake IDs, because in Wisconsin you just like sit in a yard. It's like
you don't need the fake
you're just
ID.
in a field, like nobody's checking IDs, and if the cops show up, you're all fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so how many siblings do you have? What's your like kind of family situation?
I have a older brother, older sister.
Okay, and are they in entertainment as well?
No.
Okay,
No. My brother is a biologist.
so really similar.
Yeah. So a doctor in biology is a field botanist.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and my sister. Well, I guess my sister is in some kind of entertainment. She teaches pole dancing.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should go to that sometime.
well, yeah, we definitely should. She's actually just has a studio space opening in Santa Monica.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and she'll be teaching privates and classes.
I've always wanted to try that, but like as you see on my leg right now, I have all these bruises from Muay Thai, and
That's
somebody
exactly what you look like when you're doing pole dancing.
somebody told me that they
Yeah.
said you get bruises inside of your leg, and I was like, I never really thought of what these poor girls go through as they're training to pole dance.
Yeah, I actually wrote a pilot around her having a studio, and I was like the sister who, anyway, it was called Beyond the Pole, and she trained me for like a month before we shot it. And I look like a.
Was it really hard?
It was so hard.
I can't even
Like,
imagine.
It's so different. Like now when I go to strip clubs, I see these women and I look at them completely different. Just so much respect. I'm like, do you know how fucking hard it is to do that?
Yeah.
Like even just like a pull, like even just to pull yourself up, like the amount of body strength it takes.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, and I remember the first time when I first moved to LA, I've always been kind of like a girl. I don't know. I say I'm a guy's girl, but I'm not. I'm also a girl's girl. So whatever. I'm just a just a person. But I moved here and I had all these guy friends that were like, we need to go to Jumbo's Clown Room.
Oh my God.
And
So you've been?
I had never been before or heard anything about it. So I thought I was just going to a regular strip club, because I used to go with my guy friends in Wisconsin. Like I would hijack their party buses and like go and like Wisconsin strip clubs. I mean, God bless, but it's just a different.
I could imagine.
It's different. And so Jumbo's Clown Room, for anybody that has not heard of this, you should Google this phenomenon, but it's actual like acrobatic women.
Yeah.
And it's not a titty bar.
It's hard to get in there.
It's really hard to perform in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
hard
like
to get a spot.
respected, and these women, it's like high-end burlesque and I mean, the things that these women can do, I was just like, my jaw was on the floor the whole time. And I was like, take all my money. I had like $10, but I gave it all to them.
I've actually had 2 birthdays there.
Oh, stop. I feel like I'm overdue for one. So maybe that'll be, hangout number 3.
I love that. Yeah, we should definitely do that.
So at what point did you kind of start migrating into comedy stuff?
Well, comedy was always... as a kid, I mean, my background was theater and musical theater, but I used to compete in theater festivals. They're called DTASC, Drama Theater Arts.
Wow.
And
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, so
how does that work?
There's two drama festival and then just regular festival, so twice a year. And I would compete in monologue, and that's actually how I know Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, no way.
She's 5 years older. So she's a year older than my brother. And she won a bunch of festivals. So like when you win the festival here, you get to perform at Paramount, like in front of like a panel of people, and like it's a huge like to do, like in school.
Yeah.
And so she won a couple of them. And so I used to watch her videos when I was in like 6th grade. And then she came over to like mentor us when she was in high school. She came over to the junior high.
Oh my God. What took people so long to find her?
That's
I know it's just part of the game. But has she mentored you?
Yeah. So yeah, she came over. So anyway, I mean, I don't mean to brag, but so Kevin Spacey held the record. Here it comes. Kevin Spacey held the record. He had 5 first place in monologue. And I beat him, and I still hold the record. I have 7 first place.
Holy shit.
In monologue, yeah. So, but they would all be comedy monologues. So even like Shakespeare, like Lance the Dog, 12th Night, stuff like that. But but they were all huge characters. It was all character
Yeah.
stuff. And then from that, I got a show on Nickelodeon, and it was a sketch improv show.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which one?
It was called Life Humongous.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't all that watcher, but that's the only one I remember. I used to watch that like crazy back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like Amanda Bynes. I just did work like that, but it was all comedy stuff. And so I always knew that that's really what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then I did the Groundlings, and then from after college when I got out, that like Groundlings had added all these like other levels and classes, and it just became just kind of a different thing.
Yeah.
Where there's like it was like 9 levels, and then you can start performing.
Well, and it's so much money.
It is. It's no joke. Like if you do the math, it was more than a year at Berkeley.
Yeah. It's prestigious, like, because I did Second City Chicago. And so I know, like, it's hard to get in. It's hard to stay in. But then you're still paying to be there.
Right.
So I think people don't realize that it's not like just a gift that is given upon you.
Well, and I think that's what's kind of shitty is I would watch people in class and I'd be like, they should tell them.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Like, they should tell them to stop
wasting. I know.
Which is so mean, but because everybody's in there. Like, if you're just taking it, you're just like, oh, I'm just like here for a class. Cool.
Yeah.
But like, everybody wants to get to the end. And like, no.
Well, and there was always a couple that would like squeak through that would just audition enough where they would finally get in. And you would want to say like, you're not going to make your career out of this. Why are you? But maybe some people, some people just need pals.
Just here for the friends.
I hate to say that because but I still talk to everybody that was in my Second City classes with me today. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know if
I don't talk to anyone.
Do you know Kristen Toomey at all? She's a comic. She's Chicago based, but she comes out here a lot in New York, and her and I started Second City together like 11 years ago. So we were also just at Just for Laughs. And we were like, she was like high in the corner by the bathrooms, like not able to talk to people. She had eaten something and I went and sat with her and we were like laughing about the fact that we have known each other for 11 fucking years. Like it just gets, it's just interesting when you think back on the fact that you've known these people for so long.
Well, that's a great, because you guys have that bond.
Yeah. What year did you start doing stand-up?
Jesus. It's 2018, I guess 2011.
Shit. Okay.
2011.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like I admire when people are like, today's my 9-year anniversary. Like I don't know when I know when my first comedy show was. I wouldn't say I was doing stand up.
Yeah.
For like the first year, I'd do a show like every 4 months, and I'd call myself a stand-up.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't think I really consider people like stand-up comedians until like they're out in the hustle every night,
and like kind of getting paid here and there at least, and working the clubs or something.
Working the clubs.
Yeah, working the clubs. Yeah, because I
don't know about getting paid.
Yeah, well, I think that's when I started considering myself like a comic, or when I used to when I first started. I was like, okay, I'm a comic. Like now I get paid to do this,
right?
But it's not like you're making a lot when you start.
Yeah, that $8 check.
Yeah, fuck. I remember we were just talking about this too, me and a friend. But I remember the first time, like, because my first year doing stand up, it's just you kind of dabbling and trying shit. My first show would have been sometime in the end of 2010, but I didn't really start honing it until 2011. So about the same time. But my first couple shows were just like storytelling. And then my next couple shows, I was really obsessed with Mitch Hedberg. And so I was like trying one-liners out. And I wish I could find the tape.
That's like the exact opposite.
Yeah. Like and then I found my way back to storytelling because I just am not a one-liner comic. But I did do a couple like 4-minute sets of like one-liner shit.
That's
and just really funny. I'd love to find those tapes. But we were talking about how, in a city like Chicago, you get offered headlining like way before you're ready. So like at the end, not even at the end of my first year, I was given like a headlining spot at this place called Sidetrack. And it was an awesome like gay bar. And it was only a 20-minute headlining spot, thank God. But I probably...
A year in, you were doing a 20-minute set?
I probably only had like 8 minutes. So it was the most
rest was just
horrible
breathing.
set I've ever done in my life. And like all the gay bars loved me. And to fail in that space where they really want you to succeed, it was like so bad. So after that, I was like, shit, I guess I better hone this. And so it was probably around that time that I started to like actually craft sets.
Oh,
it just takes a while to kind of figure it out.
Oh God, it does. Yeah, no, my first lying experience where I was like, yeah, I could do that. I was just filling in gaps. Steve Trevino had taken me to do a corporate gig, and I had only been doing stand-up for like about a year. So I maybe had 10 shows under my belt, and he's like, can you do 15 minutes clean? I didn't have any clean material. I was just like, yeah, cool. And I got up there in front of like all these people in suits for like a luncheon. And I like the look on his face. He was literally looking at me like just going like this, like, get the fuck out of there.
It's the worst feeling in the world when you don't have enough material. Yeah. And that's even like, I'm setting up a Europe tour right now. And I was talking with this club in Scotland, and they were like, you know, how much time do you want to do? And I was like, you know, I've never performed in Scotland, so I'm going to tell you how much time I can do, and let's cut that in half. Because if in case I'm failing really bad, I don't want to be stuck with all this time to fill.
Yeah.
Have you ever done overseas?
You
did troops, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did South Korea.
Was it for locals or just the people on the base?
Just people on the base.
People on the base.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably a little bit different.
Yeah, we did 8 bases.
Yeah.
In South Korea. But yeah, just for military men and women.
That's kind of my fear about going overseas, is because I'm like, I have no idea how my humor is going to translate. No idea.
Yeah.
You know,
that would definitely be my fear as well.
I'm doing
Even as you're saying it, I'm like, wait, what do they speak?
I know. And Scotland, English, that is impossible to understand. That's what they speak.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if you ever met a Scottish person, but it's like, we speak a different English, 100%.
Yeah, and they're looking at you like, her funny accent. That's what they're concentrating on the whole time.
Exactly. So parlaying back to like when you were starting to transition into stand-up and stuff, you know, when did you start? What are some rough patches you kind of went through in your entertainment industry? Or
I'm always in a rough patch.
I don't know if we ever get out of a rough patch.
Yeah. Until I'm Tiffany Haddish, I'm always in a rough patch. No. When were some of them?
What was kind of your first like rough patch in entertainment or rough patch in life that parlayed into entertainment?
The first rough patch in entertainment was definitely coming out of college.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of opportunities of like, you know, opportunities to take instead of going to college.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was making the right decision, which I did. Made the right decision. But when I came back, I just thought, you know, I thought everything would be waiting for me.
Yeah.
I literally came back into town. Like I got out of school as quick as I could. I even took summer school so that I could graduate early.
What was the opportunity?
There was a film, which I mean, the film didn't. It was called My Boat. It wasn't that big of a deal. I ended up working on it after. Started it in summer, but I think had I not, like, my agency dropped me, and I think that's just a really hard age to come out, especially like our demographic, like a white woman in, you know, in her early 20s. It's that's I mean,
there's
that's
so many.
the biggest population in Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, you know, as you get older, it starts thinning out where people are like, oh no, I want a real life. I want kids. I want to get married. So people, you know, give up on their dreams.
Which makes room for everybody else. Right. Thank God.
Just the sad ones that stick it out.
Yep.
But so, yeah, that was a really big transition for me and a really hard, that was my first like realization, like, fuck, like the world doesn't revolve around me. I mean that seriously.
Yeah.
It was a hard lesson to learn.
I think even if we're not in entertainment at that age, you think the world does. Like, I think
that's true.
I think no matter where you are at age 20-ish, you kind of just think you're never going to die and every choice you make is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get slapped around with reality a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's like a major problem with the way our system is set up in terms of college. You know, like in Europe, after they graduate high school, they go and they travel, and you know, they take time off, and they actually start school later. You know, like when we're ending school, they're starting school, and I think that makes a lot of sense because it is that feeling like you know, you go to you've been told what to do all these years.
Yeah.
And then you just keep continuing on into college, which is your own decision. But for a lot of people, you know, they're going to fill their parents' dreams or, you know, whatever responsibility they think they need to do. And then you get out and it's literally just like, it's like kicking you out into the world and being like, okay, go to do your life now.
Exactly. There should be an experience school. Like you should be able to get points or like credits for just experiencing shit.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, I did leave school.
It sounds silly, but it's true.
I left school after 2 years and because I knew I wanted to go into comedy and started doing some traveling in my 20s. And that's when I realized, oh, this is how you figure out how to like actually operate in the world.
Right.
So I do feel like that is worth more adult points than sometimes a term paper is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's where the real learning in life comes. Like, not sitting in a classroom.
Did you ever get into any sort of like trouble as a kid or anything like that? Or were you pretty good because...
A lot of trouble.
Good. You know, there's so many people I ask and they're like, no, I was a goody two shoes. And I'm like, well, that's boring. I got in so much trouble too.
I'm sure you did. You seem like it. No, but you actually seem like me. So I'm like really great on paper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I was president of all my schools, like, you know, student council, got good grades. But like got arrested 3 times in high school. Just partied a lot. Yeah. You know, Fridays were for drinking. Mm-hmm. Would bring Slurpees to school, fill them up with vodka before we went in.
Yeah, pretty much the exact same. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't on student council, but I was like a straight A student. But then I partied so hard.
I definitely
and I got arrested 3 times in high school as well.
Really? Mm-hmm. Which is so okay. So
what were yours? Because I love these stories. Arrests when you're young are so funny because you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you don't realize you should just tell the truth sometimes.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I tried to lie about a lot of stuff and realized that they are smarter than me.
Yeah. But no, I guess I thought it was funny. So my older sister got into a lot of trouble. Like a lot of trouble. Like she was the problem child.
Okay.
So I, being the youngest, just kind of got away. She was taking so much of the attention. I could literally do anything. Mm-hmm. So like the first time I got arrested, when the cops brought me to my parents' house to like let me know that they were taking me down, which was very kind of them, so that I didn't have to make the phone call.
Yeah.
My dad came to the door in his underwear. And I was handcuffed and I couldn't look at him because I was trying not to smile. I was also wasted, but I was trying not to let him see that I was smiling. And the cop kept going, "You think this is funny?" And I'd be like, "No." Because I knew that like my dad wasn't going to be pissed at me, you know, like my sister's fucking legit, you know?
Yeah, you're like, this is less.
So I thought I got drunk with some friends. And I drove a pickup truck.
Of course you did.
I thought it would be hilarious to pick up Christmas ornaments and put them on my Jewish friend's lawn. So we ran around the block just on foot and like threw some of the ornaments in the back of my truck. And we went to his house. It was like midnight. And we put them on his lawn. And then we were like, what? Like let's not stop. Let's just keep going. So we drove around for probably like 2 hours. It was almost 2 a.m. We had made like literally like 4 or 5 truckfuls.
Oh my God.
We were sweeping neighborhoods. I had 2 people in the back of my truck and I would pull up and they would hop out and I would just cruise down and they'd just keep throwing ornaments in the back of the truck.
Oh my God.
And so his house was like completely, it was just covered in crystal. There was even like one of those like huge snowmans that like blow up. we were trying to figure out on the side of his yard. We were trying to figure out like where we could plug it in so that it would
actually really funny.
And then so on our last like drop off, we pulled up to the house and I guess like we had covered such a like an area in Calabasas, Calabasas, Woodland Hills area. It was like a 4-mile radius that we had covered. That when we got to the
Where
last
are you buying all these ornaments from, by the way? Was it just like
buying? No, we were stealing them.
You were stealing them?
Yes, no, we were stealing them from other people's houses.
That's so much better.
At midnight,
I'm picturing you just clearing out a Walmart and like coming
going up to people's like lawns where they have like candy canes in a row, and we just like swoop them just like with our hands, and then throwing them in the back of my truck. So people were calling and being like, "Somebody just stole all our Christmas ornaments." But like all around town. So the cops finally figured out where we were, where like our stash was.
Which was for like the Joy Bandits.
Yeah, Kevin Marco's house. Sorry, Kevin. So we, the last drop off we made, there were 4 cop cars. And when we pulled up, they were there. But we were like drunk and like laughing and too. So we pulled up and they had their guns drawn. And
oh my God.
We're seniors in high school, and I got my truck was a stick. I got out of a moving vehicle, literally like just jumped out of the truck. The car is like still moving. It like ended up just like hitting a curb and you know, I mean, it was a neutral, but yeah. We all like on the ground. One of my girlfriends, she was like wearing a dress. She didn't want to get dirty. Like we just thought it was not taken seriously at all.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we were cuffed and put in the back of a cop car, and they gave us opportunity to return all of the ornaments. And we're like, yeah, no, we know where we got all of them. I mean, there was probably close to like 200 Christmas ornaments. We've been doing it for 2 hours.
Oh my God.
So we would like he's like, okay, you know what? If we won't book you guys if you can return everybody's ornaments. So we're like looking at each other. We have no fucking idea whose ornaments were what.
Of course not.
So they all the cops just started loading Christmas ornaments. So the first like car full, they pull up to somebody's house, and this woman comes out and she's hysterically crying, and we're like looking at her like, ma'am,
get over it.
They're Christmas ornaments. But she's crying and we're laughing. Again, I'm like trying not to. So of course, like I'm the ringleader. I get out. He's like, who wants to find her ornaments? So he like pops his trunk, and I'm trying not to look at her because I don't want to laugh. And I just like pick up a candy cane. I'm like, I think this is yours. She's crying. She's like, that's not mine. It's so stupid. It's really not that funny, but
no,
like
it is though, because
and then she's like rifling. She's like looking through all the groups, and she's like, it's not in here. So we got booked. We got taken down.
Oh my God, that's kind of an epic arrest story.
It is. Oh no, sorry. Best part of the story. Next morning, there was a write up in the Daily News, thanking the LA County Sheriff's Department for finding and arresting the Grinches who tried to steal Christmas. And then the picture on it was a picture of the back of the cop car with like all the Christmas. But the shittiest part, which is actually why I'm a horrible role model, is that in the write-up it was like 4 El Camino students. One of and they couldn't name our names because we were minors.
Yeah.
I think that's why. Or I guess they could because we were booked anyway. But they didn't name our names. But they said that one of the kids was the captain of the football team, which is Jason Anderson. Sorry, Jason. And captain of the female basketball team, which was me. So I was benched for the rest of the season.
Oh my God. What did the team think? Because I feel like it'd be so hard to be a coach and not think that story was like kind of awesome in a way.
Yeah, no, my coach Chandler, she's like, fucking Sherman. Are you we have fucking playoffs coming. Like she just said, and I'm literally, I couldn't look at her. I'm like, I am so sorry. Yeah.
We didn't ever get into stealing anything, but we got arrested drinking all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
What would they do when you get arrested?
Well, the first...
In Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Well, the thing is, I've never...
It's just a ticket, right?
It's just a ticket, but it's like it was in Stoughton, Wisconsin. So there's nothing else going on. So like, unlike LA where they like have other shit to do, I mean, you probably were super annoying when that happened.
Yeah.
Like they were like, we had other shit to do, probably, you know, and they had to deal with
real
your
crime.
asses. Yeah. Like real
That's
crime.
what my parents said. They're like, come on, their kids having fun. Like that was my parents.
Yeah.
take.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
But there was nothing else for like they always found our parties But the first time I got arrested, I used to let people drunk drive my car all the time. Like I wouldn't drink and drive, but I would happily let other people drive it. And I drove a brown minivan.
What?
So you had your pickup, I had a minivan. Yeah. We were kind of like the best crime fighters in the world. And
that's actually wrong of your parents. Because a minivan fits like 8 or 9 people.
I know. Yeah, what were they thinking? We always had so much beer in there. But I had been drinking with my friend who was the chief of police's daughter. I always got in trouble with her and the pastor's son. So always like the two. But
it's like from a movie.
Yeah, I'm serious. So the chief of police's daughter and I were hammered and 2 other of our friends were high. And so I let them drive my van. And we stopped at a kid's soccer field in the middle of the night to pee. Because where else would you pee but an open soccer field on the corner of a very busy intersection? So the van was pulled over. There was like weed smoke pouring out of it. And me and her were in the soccer field peeing on 2 different sides of this like little shed. And all of a sudden I see this beam of light come around the corner and she comes running around the corner and her pants are around her ankles. And I see cops chasing her. So I start to try to run, but my pants were around my ankles as well. So basically we're tripping and trying to run and they catch us and they zip tie us because I don't know why they do that, but did they do that with you guys? Zip tie you?
No.
They put cuffs on you?
Yeah, they put cuffs. I think they were trying to scare us. But
in Wisconsin, it's like
nicer.
Zip ties, like your cattle or something. So they zip tied us.
Piglets.
Anyway, I'd heard that you could put pennies in your mouth to prevent a breathalyzer.
I've heard that too.
Which I don't think it's true.
It's not.
I think it's
but
like...
I still do it.
So I dumped like 4 pennies in my mouth.
Yeah, what is it? It's like the copper or something?
Something. Or it's the way you position it. I'm not sure if you like blow around it or whatever. But they obviously could hear them jingling in my mouth. So they were like, do you have anything in your mouth? I'm like, no. And there's like a mouthful of coins. And so I had to spit them out. And while they're breathalyzing me, I managed to wiggle my hand out of the zip tie. And I start waving to my friend like, what should I do? I have this hand free. And she gives me this look like nothing. And so then I put it back in, but I put it back in wrong. So then I was complaining to the cops that they were hurting me because my hands were literally like messed up. So it was this whole thing. And we ended up getting taken down to the station. And her dad was there, who's the chief of police. And it was like, because we were minors, you know, they had to call our parents. And the other, I think in Wisconsin, when you're 17, they don't have to call your parents anymore. As long as somebody comes and picks you up. Damn. Maybe they just do that in small towns because everybody knows each other.
What the hell? That's the
so the next
law
2,
ever.
I never had to tell my parents about it. I just had to pay them.
What?
Mm-hmm. And now they know,
God's
obviously.
Name would they do that?
I know. It's kind of like being able to sign yourself out of school. It's like, why would you not think your kids would get in trouble if...
Yeah.
But yeah, we just got a lot of drinking tickets. Did you get any other arrests besides... You had 2 more, right?
Yeah. Well, I got a school arrest. They caught on to the Slurpee Friday Slurpee days. Yeah, because I mean, every Friday, like 5 of us girls would have Slurpees. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, we all got picked up that day. So it was literally like, they must have been like, if you see any kids with Slurpees, you know, pull them in. So yeah, we got, and did you guys have police on campus?
No. We just had a golf cart lady.
I mean, I would have stolen that. No, we had metal detectors.
Oh, yeah.
Cop, like police, you know, in full uniform walking around the school. And yeah, we got arrested and detained and had to sit there. And then all of our parents came in. I was like, to explain to them. And then again, when my parents walked in, I'm like laughing. Try not to be disrespectful. Because I again, like I still was a good kid. Like I had respect for the teachers and, you know, understood that like I was, you know, giving them a hard time. But so I wasn't laughing at their face as much as the cops. But
yeah. You can be a good kid, but like to drink a little.
Yeah.
You know, that's...
See, like it was like I still got good grades. I still did my shit. Like what's the problem?
Like I'm a decent adult, but I still drink a little too. I'm probably a little bit drunk right now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just a little bit. Oh my God. Well, so at what point did you start kind of transitioning into adulthood? Would you feel like? When did you feel like you were finally kind of coming into your own as like, okay, I'm going to live in Hollywood? When did you move out by yourself?
When I went to college.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the first time. Yeah. First time I lived alone. And then, yeah, when I moved back, I moved out to Hollywood.
And you've been in Hollywood ever since?
Yeah. Well, I was living with a girlfriend from college, moved out. She's from Argentina, and she moved in with me, and she ended up being deported. She was like knock at the door deported.
Oh,
They're
shit.
like, "Hi, Valentina, we need you." And so there was no like warning. She had lots of warning, but she didn't tell me. So we were living together in Hollywood, like on Mansfield, in this crummy little apartment, and it was just like all of a sudden I didn't have a roommate.
Yeah.
I was barely making $800 rent, and so I moved back in with my folks for like 6 months, and then ended up getting my own place. But
yeah.
yeah,
It's kind of nice that you had that option at least.
I know.
They were here.
I know. I'm really fortunate. In terms of that, you hear people just like crashing on couches and shit like that. I'm like,
Yep.
I've never had to do that. So
Yeah, I think only my first couple months out here was really rough because I like didn't know where I was living yet, and I was just kind of homeless for a little bit. Not homeless, but I had a place. Like I was renting my friend's room, but all my stuff was in storage, and it was just kind of one of those in shambles kind of things.
yeah.
But when you're in your mid-20s, you can just kind of handle that shit.
I know. I think about that now. I'm like, I would never do that.
I know.
Or move back in with my parents. I'm like, that's like the saddest thing.
Well, and when you get to this age too, like even traveling, like even when I go to like New York and stuff, like if I'm not getting put up somewhere, then I have to rent a place, or I have to like stay in a friend's place that they're like happen to be in LA that week or something,
Right.
because you just get to a point where you can't sleep on couches anymore.
Yeah.
I think I've hit that age where I'm like, I need like a fucking bed. I need a place that I can shower in without having to like tiptoe over people sleeping on the floor.
Yeah. Although I have rented, I was doing a weekend at Gotham and they weren't putting me up, and I got an Airbnb and they didn't tell me, but I was actually sleeping on their couch. And it was like so last minute when I got there. I was literally like,
God.
is this a joke? Like with them in the room. Like it was supposed to be like I was getting the whole place by myself.
What?
It was literally just like like a door that was, and they were trying to pass it off as like it being
Its own room?
Yeah.
Oh
I
God.
was like, no,
Ooh,
absolutely not.
sketch balls.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
So, now transitioning to now, what are some of the biggest struggles you think you go through now as an entertainer?
Biggest struggles with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's actually. I just came to this conclusion. Yeah, the biggest struggle is having my own self-confidence.
Yeah.
I think I've been at this for so long. Entertainment in general, not just
Sure.
stand-up. Stand-up is its own thing. Like, I'm moving along in stand-up, and for how long I've been doing it, I'm
I'm
not
you're
hard on
crushing.
myself about that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like keeping your own self-confidence up.
Yeah.
When everything else is kind of beating you down,
Mhm.
just keeping like, no, I promise I'm great. I'm great.
I know. And it's really weird to have to look at yourself in the mirror sometimes and think like, I have to fight for myself today.
Yeah.
Because you do. I mean, every day it's like that here. And you don't really think about it that way, but some days it does feel like that's the case.
Yeah. And then it's like, how is anybody else supposed to buy what I'm selling
Mm-hmm.
when like I'm not buying it right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like, where do you cultivate that self-love or that self-confidence?
I can picture young Courtney laughing at you right now. Look at, she thinks that blah, blah, blah. Her life is so hard. I'm just kidding.
But like, and comparing yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing and I wouldn't even just say women, but I think women have a hard time with that, especially because,
Definitely.
there seems to be more of, how do I put this? An expiration date on us in this town. There's like more of a pressure of an expiration date.
Yeah.
Less so in comedy because you can always break at any point. But I think there's that self-pressure. I mean, I feel it sometimes too where I'm like, oh shit, well, if this takes me X amount more years to get to that place, I'm going to be like old.
I'm going to be old.
I'm going to be old.
Well, and it's so different now than even like when we first we started at the same time when we first started comedy, because the amount of exposure that we see to other people's lives with Instagram, I will say just Instagram. Like and how accessible it is just to see how well everyone else is doing, is that added pressure because you immediately internalize it. You're immediately like, oh, this person got booked on that show. Why wasn't I booked on that? Which it's the death to your day. It's like you could be going along, great, like in a creative, awesome, like space for yourself, writing, and you pick up your phone and immediately it's completely crushed with thoughts of shit that has nothing to do with you, completely out of your control, and just bad for your head and
bad juju.
Yeah, it really is, and it's. I'm horrible at it. I work at it every day, but it's a constant struggle of like trying to keep your head out of that.
I think it is for everybody. I mean, I turned off, this is the best thing that I've ever done, was turn off all my Instagram and stuff, like notifications.
So the pop-ups?
Yeah. So unless I log in, I don't see anything.
Oh, well, I recently, I delete it every day. I delete the app on my phone.
Do you? And then you put it back?
I put it back when I want to post something. So I'll literally be like, when I post something, I can scroll through for like 20 minutes.
Wow.
And like comment or like, or, just be supportive and be out there and be active, which is a part of our job. So we have to, which is,
I know,
sucks. Cause
it does.
It like, I mean, you can noticeably see it. Like when I was out of the country, and didn't have access to internet, like my engagement, it suffers from it. Like you need to engage to get engagement, it's one feeds the other. So it is a part of our job. So it makes it even harder. But I just recently I just delete it every day.
That is so funny.
So psycho.
That is so
funny. I don't have the own self-control because it's not. It'll like I'll be driving and I'll literally be like, let me take a little look. Oh, cool. Everyone's doing better in life than me. Awesome. Just fucking delete that shit.
It's really fucking hard. I mean, I had to I work at it too. I mean, I think we all have to all the time, but I had to get to a point a couple of years ago, and I think it really helped me to watch a lot of stuff from like my casting director friend's perspective, and like just remind myself that not like everything is so out of my control, and then.
You mean like them telling you like about the casting process and stuff?
Yeah, just being reminded of that. I think we all know, but just to be able to see it like from their point of view and just remember that it's literally just thousands of faces of really great looking people or really diverse people, and like nothing really fucking matters.
Right.
So
cool. Our job means nothing.
Our job means nothing. I think I did some podcast. This was like years ago before podcasts were even like a thing, but it was like a metaphysical podcast, and they asked me like, what legacy do you want to leave behind? And I was like, none.
That's
because
a deep ass question for a fucking
I know. And I was like, none really. And they were like, why? And I was like, well, because think about it. Like 100 years from now, nobody's going to give a shit. Like, what am I really solving? I'm not Elon Musk, like, what am I really doing? I'm like never going to build a rocket ship. I'm never going to do that.
All right.
I don't want to limit myself or say that I'm not capable, but I'm not. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, what are some of the things you want to accomplish the most next, you think?
What's with the deep fucking questions? What do I want to accomplish next? I'd like to have my own projects. I have a one-woman show that's been in the works for a few years. I'd definitely like to get that on its feet.
We were talking about that. Because I'm working on mine too.
Yeah. I feel all of us women comics are all in the works for one of those. Maybe we should all just do it together.
Maybe we should. We should just pick a festival and each pick a day, and then it will force us all to do it.
That's actually a really great idea.
It really is a good idea.
No, that's it. Just forcing, I mean, even if that's just the launching point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also have a show, which we all do. That I wrote, and it's dear to me because it's my family. And just kind of like my family story, which I think is hilarious and entertaining. So yeah. Those two things are really what I'm working on and pushing for.
Yeah. It kind of seems like you are like me, where you want to have like control over something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've talked about this as well, but I think I've spent enough time you know, trying to have somebody else do that for me. You know, auditioning and waiting for auditions, or like changing managers because I'm like, my manager's not doing anything, and it's like, no, nobody's going to do anything for you. You know? Great, like you create your own stuff, and things moving on your own. So
that's kind of the headspace I've always been. Well, it was when I was about to first move out here, luckily, that I'm going to see him next week, but the director of Second City that I was really close to in Chicago. And he used to always just tell me things like it was, which thank God somebody did. So I'm glad I had a couple people that did. And he was like, it's going to be really hard, and it's going to suck a lot sometimes. And there's a lot of people that are way more talented than you. And I was like, you know, at least right now. And he's like, but you're really talented too. And so you're going to do okay.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. A teacher sat you down and was like, look,
there's going to be somebody way more talented
They should have had these talks at the Groundlings because they never did.
Oh my God. Norm is the best. We're going to have dinner my first day in Chicago the night I'm performing there. But he used to tell me all this shit. He'd be like, Tasha, there's a lot of really talented people that moved out there just from Chicago that are like more talented than you right now. So, like, just don't be upset when you don't get shit. But then I would audition for something, and one of them would be there who was on, like, the main stage of Second City. And I'd be like, they're going to get this. But at least I'm auditioning, too, for it.
Yes.
So, you know, it was a good thing. But I feel like, and that's like a Chicago attitude and kind of more of a East Coast attitude where people are a little bit more upfront. Like, in LA, everybody wants to just tell you, like, everything's...
Oh, you mean fake?
Yeah.
Cool.
Even this week, I had to put myself, this morning, I had to put myself on tape for a very, very demanding, dramatic role that I didn't want to do. I was fighting it all week. And then I finally started looking at the sides last night because I was like, I don't want to do this. I do comedy. But you know, I don't know. You don't have control over that shit. You just get what you get. Yeah. So... let's talk about, we've got like 15 minutes left, 10 minutes left. What do you have coming up that you're really excited about as far as shows?
Well, I'm going to be in San Diego the beginning of next week. Madhouse Comedy, and then La Jolla Comedy Store. And I never get down there. So I'm excited about that little road trip. And then I'm featuring for Bobby Lee in Irvine, which I haven't worked with him in a while.
I'm so glad you're working with him again.
Yeah, I'm really
because I know we had talked
about
that,
too.
and you hadn't worked with him in a while.
Yeah, he kind of verbally abuses me, so it should be really fun. He makes me tell people, or I'm sorry, admit to people that I look like Abe Lincoln. Oh
my God.
He'll literally be like, "What's up, babe?" And I'll be like, "Hey."
Oh my God. I fucking love that.
It's not funny. And then he'll be like, tell all these people that you look like Abe Lincoln. And I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. He's like, tell them or you're not working with me. I look like Abe Lincoln. So yeah, we'll be at Irvine 14th, the weekend of the 14th.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think is like your biggest struggle as far as comedy right now? Or like what would you put out there for people like as a closing kind of piece of advice for anybody that might be trying to get into this biz?
Well, definitely what we talked about. That's a huge one. You know, when we started, we didn't have to deal with that. So I mean, I can't imagine how hard it is, like just starting comedy. You know, have like a good couple shows under your belt and you're like, okay, I know it's a long process, 7 to 10 years until you're doing something. And then looking on social media and seeing somebody at 2 or 3 years and being like, oh my God, like, they're up for Conan, like, whatever it is. So that would definitely be it. It's stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Don't compare yourself to people. Everybody has their own. I used to hate that. And I used to like roll my eyes when people would say it, like everyone has their own journey and their own path,
Yeah. But it is true. I mean, you just don't have to say it in that voice. If you say it in that voice, you're a fucking asshole. Everybody has their own journey.
That's a voice inside my head where I'm like, but yeah, it's definitely true.
Yeah. I had some really good advice while I was in Just for Laughs. I went with Godfrey to a bunch of his shows, and I was talking about this with Ty Barnett last week. But Godfrey has been in comedy for 20 years or something, and he's amazing. And he told me some advice Seinfeld gave him. So this is a double advice tier. Seinfeld gave him.
So it's
when he
actually
was
like
starting.
Seinfeld gave you
It's
advice.
almost like
Continue.
Seinfeld gave me this advice through another human. That when you're in whatever it is, whether you're in entertainment or in stand-up or whatever career path you're in, however many years you've been doing it is how old you are. You know, so if you've been doing something for 7 years, you're like a 7-year-old. If you've been doing it for 18 years, you're kind of reaching adulthood. So
I like that.
it was kind of this thing that Godfrey said stuck with him because he was like, oh, you know, I guess that makes me not feel, it makes me feel okay about where my career is every year because I'm only a year older. I need like 5-year increments to really see a notable difference. So it was kind of nice to hear that because I was like, okay, you know, I've been in comedy for 11 years. I've been in stand-up for 8. Like, I'm fine. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But it's nice to be reminded of that because I'm like, oh, I'm not even in middle school.
But I mean, when I was an 8-year-old, I was totally like, I'm fucking old enough to do anything.
I know. And exactly. I mean, fuck, we were like old enough to think we could do whatever we wanted and not get arrested when we were 15 and 16.
Right.
So, okay. So those are your dates coming up. Where can everybody find you on social media? But she's not going to follow you back or respond from the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. when her app is not on her phone.
Yes. But I'm at Courtney Scheuerman. And my last name is a little funky. It's Scheuerman. So Courtney Scheuerman, Courtney with a C. And then my Twitter is Court Scheuerman.
Sweet.
Yep. And then my website, which actually has all my
all your tour dates and stuff,
is CourtneyScheuerman.com.
Okay, and tickets are sold on there as well for stuff whenever they can be.
Yeah, whenever they can be.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and stuff. I am at NPH Comedy. The podcast is at Future Role Model or at Role Model Pod on Twitter, which I don't think people really use anymore, but that's fine.
How did that happen?
I know it just kind of is dying. Sorry, Twitter. And the comedy pop-up is the network. At CPU Podcast is the podcast network. And what else do I have coming? Oh, the day after this comes out, I will be featuring for Nikki Glazer in New York at a casino. Shit, I can't remember the name of the casino. Oh my God, whatever. You'll find it on my Instagram. And that week I'll be in New York and the following week at Laugh Factory Chicago. So hit me up, DM me for tickets and guest lists. And anything else you want to plug before we go?
No.
Okay, cool.
That's it.
See you next Tuesday.